comments I can. This question is, any plans for schools on wells that are not being supplied adequately? And I can't quite make out the name of the school here. Anyway.
That would be an answer that the school district would have to address. To my knowledge, I know of no school that is planning to drill a well. And I know the city is planning to improve our water treatment plant, and that will be on the start construction in 2014. But we have no knowledge of any school wanting to drill or going to drill a well.
Okay, Paul, same question. Any plans for schools on wells that are not being supplied?
I don't understand the question exactly, but I'm guessing if that's what they were thinking, maybe to save money for the schools, that is a school district issue, and I don't know of any plans. Talking to the school superintendent, I haven't heard of any plans of anything to do that, and I don't know if that would be a good idea or not, so it's not something I've investigated.
Okay, thank you. Might as well hang on to that mic. All right, we have order. How confident are you with the results of the study by the attorney? Is it Starr?
I'm not very confident in the results completely. There were a lot of inferences in there that the city employees do not feel comfortable. They do not trust the management, and that includes city council. That does not just include the management of the city managers. I think that the report was rushed. The way it was done was inappropriate. The mayor was quoted in the paper as saying, I guess that's what we need to do and that's what the people want. I just think it was rushed. I think it was a poorly done thing, and I think we wasted $18,000 and we got an answer that we kind of expected. The other point of that whole report was that the investigator was picked by someone on the city council. Apparently, we still don't even know the answer because no one would admit to it, but apparently it was picked by someone on the city council who's another HR person, and the attorney was an HR person. So you kind of don't investigate HR issues with a person who's an attorney who defends businesses so they don't get sued. It didn't make any sense. It should have been a impartial judge that would have been doing this report, and it was just, I just think it was not a very good report.
The investigator that was hired for this was actually hired. I made a mistake. I signed a contract with her that was not valid. That was voided. We went back to the city council. City council approved the hiring of Renee Starr, who is an attorney out of Portland. She interviewed approximately 40 people in the city, former employees, 30-some people at the Justice Center, and came up with the findings that there was not a hostile work environment in the Justice Center. There's always some dissatisfaction with employees, but the main issue was, is there a hostile work environment at the Justice Center? And the findings were complete, and she did a thorough job of investigating and interviewing as many people that would talk to her in the Justice Center.
Might as well hang on to that, Ken. You're up next first. What will you do to increase public input in our government?
What we have done in the past is we've had multiple public hearings. Council meetings are well advertised. The one council meeting that my opponent referred to that was called on an emergency basis was to review the report, and the reason that was done was that we wanted to get that to the newspaper as soon as possible, and it has been and will be reported in the newspaper. And we try to get as much advertising out. We advertise in both of the papers for all of our city meetings, and we do the best that we get the information out, and I think we do an adequate job of doing that.
Paul, same question. What will you do to increase public input in our government?
Well, one of the things I mentioned I want to do is I want to videotape every single public meeting. That needs to be online so people can see that. They need to see how the councilors treat each other, how they act, how the meetings are run, and then people can make informed decisions when they come to vote. It's not just what they read in the paper or what they hear people talking about in town. As far as meetings being called, that is a bunch of baloney. Because That meeting that was called the other day could have been held off for a few days so we could have told people, but it was done within 24 hours notice, which is the legal minimum or maximum. And then from that, it was on a Friday afternoon. And it was right before. They always release information in the national news Friday afternoon so people don't know about it. And it's the same thing. Why don't we just give an extra few days for people to make plans? A 12:30 in the afternoon meeting, how many of you can take off work and go to that? I can't leave my business for that. It's frustrating, and the openness is a joke. There is no openness on the council. They have public meetings, and there are rules, and now they've limited. You can only talk so long at the city council. They've shut people up. It's very, very frustrating. There is not public input. I want to have once a month something that the mayor does, that I would have a lunch once a month, and the next month maybe it's a dinner with the mayor. Whatever it is, have some kind of input where the community could come in and talk to the mayor, talk to the city council, maybe have a couple city council members and the mayor meet together with people outside of the one meeting a month of the city council. It's not like that's a really big deal to get public input.
Might as well hang on to that one. This one's regarding water rates. This individual can no longer afford to water the lawn, washing at the car wash now. What are you going to do about this abnormal increase in rates?
Unfortunately, and I've put it on my Facebook page, and that's another thing. I hope people would come to my Facebook page to take a look, because I have an open conversation with the community. I'm talking to people, I'm answering questions, and people are asking things. And that's the kind of communications that we need to have. But as far as the water rates, unfortunately, what the city has done over the years, we are stuck with those water rates. I can't see another way around it. There may be, we may not be getting the full picture, because that's kind of the way things go around here, but we're not sure, and I don't think there's anything we can do about the water rates. I would never run on that saying that I could take those water rates down, because I just don't think I can. However, we have to look at the things that we can do, and some of those things would be rates for seniors, rates for people who have lower income, snowbird rates, things like that, and trying to make sure this does not happen again. That's the point, is to be open and to make sure that this kind of stuff doesn't get kicked down the road like it has. When I was on the planning commission, this was over 10 years ago, it was being talked about that that water plant was coming. There is no fund set aside for that water plant. None. Your money that you're paying extra every year, 15%, 15%, 15%, and by the way, it's not 60%, it's 60, and it's compounded each time. It's 15 compounded, 15 compounded. So it's more like 80% of an increase that we're paying on our water rates. It is a big issue. It's important to us. I've talked to so many people that are deciding whether they pay for food or whether they pay their water bill. And it isn't fair to our community. We've done a lot of injustice by doing this. And part of it, again, was the inaction.
I agree with you that the council, I advocated 10, 12 years ago that we needed to start working on the reserve for the water system. In 1982, we bought the water system from Pacific Power. It was a total sieve. We've been investing in that system since 1982 to bring up the distribution system. Our water treatment plant is obsolete, and I tried to get the council to start raising those rates over 10 years ago so that it wouldn't be such a huge bite that we do now, but we are mandated by the DEQ, the EPA, and we have to upgrade our water system. I don't like the rates. It's the cards that we've been dealt with, and we are doing the best we can. We do have a reserve built up now so that when we go up to bond for the completion of the water treatment plant, we will be able to bond for considerably less than the projected price of $21 million. So the council has started, although they started late on this, they are trying to build a reserve so that the impact won't be as great when we go to bond for that water treatment system, which is sorely needed, and it is a must that we have an updated water treatment plant.
Okay, we have several more questions here. What must we protect to keep our town's identity as it becomes a city? What makes Lebanon, Lebanon?
Well, I think we still need to keep the friendliness that we advertise, that Lebanon is the friendliest city in the state of Oregon. We still need to keep the small town identity, although we are growing. We have grown considerably in the last 10 years. But I would like to see the openness and the community involvement, the chamber, all of the service clubs that are involved in the city of Lebanon, and I would like to see that continue.
Same question, you want me to repeat it? Or? Could you please? Okay. What must we protect to keep our town's identity as it becomes a city? What makes Lebanon, Lebanon?
That's an excellent question. One of the things I want to ask you, do you know what our city's motto is anymore? It's not the town that friendliness built. When I moved here over 15 years ago, it was the town that friendliness built. It's now, it's easier from here. That was a marketing campaign, and that's the motto of our town now. I think that absolutely needs to change, even though that's a small thing. I think it's an important thing. We need our identity. We need the small town feeling. That's why we need to develop downtown. I think Partners for Progress has done a great job. They need to continue on that, and the city needs to really back that, and so does the chamber. And we need to continue things like the Saturday market, the Thursday afternoon market. There's so many cool things that are going on in town. That's the identity of our town, and that's how we keep it. Just bringing in big businesses, just bringing in a college, or just bringing in the automotive center, it's important, and we want to do that. But by itself, it's not enough. We need to continue to develop the rest of the town, and we continue to need to look for our citizens as far as things like the water rates, the transparency, so that the community can come in and talk about what they want there. That's my vision, is to have the community, just like the school district did. Look at how well the school district is doing now. You don't hear about those horrible stories that you heard about a few years back about how bad the school district was. The school district went out and got a vision. They got everybody to come in and say, what do you think our town should look like? I want to see what our town looks like in 10 years and have the community decide, not a bunch of people sitting up on a board dictating what the town's going to look like.
A well-known business mantra is, if you're not growing, you're dying. What will you do to keep improving the practices and procedures of our government?
That's where I think the transparency is key. We've got to show people that we are not hiding things, that as a city council and as mayor and as the city managers, that we're being open with the government. It is our government, and it needs to work for us, not the other way around. And that government has to do things that people trust in and believe in. If you don't have that belief, our town will be nothing. We will have none of these things we're talking about. We won't have a vision, we won't have a plan, and we'll just basically have another city. And we don't need another city. We need the town of Lebanon back.
Okay. A well-known business mantra is, if you're not growing, you're dying. What will you do to keep improving the practices and procedures of our government?
Well, basically, I think we've done a great job in the economic development area. We've done a credible job in growing this community. I think that we need to keep servicing what we have here. We expand on that and working in partnership with the companies, with the Comp Northwest, with the Lowe's, with the Intech, and with the other companies in this town. And this also helps the smaller businesses in the downtown area prosper, and the added people that come to this community always helps the smaller businesses prosper. And I think that we are doing a good job, and we want to keep up with the same thing that we're doing. Thank you.
Okay, we have several more questions here, and I want to give you guys time to wrap it up, and we're running a little short on time here. So, the Veterans Home is being funded by a levy, which will compress all taxes in Lynn County. Would you have supported a bond instead? Why or why not?
What do they mean, the taxes? The county went out for a bond measure of 19 cents per thousand to fund the purchase of the Veterans Home. That's the county's investment in that. They bought the property from the hospital. The last legislature awarded the city of Roseburg the same amount of money $10 million to buy property there. The next legislature that is going to be meeting, the county commissioners of the county, Lynn County, are going to lobby the legislators to give us the same amount of money. So the rest of that is coming from the federal. The only part that is coming from the county is the $10 million that the voters voted to buy that property. But the county commissioners are going to the state legislature as soon as they reconvene to get that reversed, because they did award Roseburg $10 million to buy property down in Roseburg. Now, the caveat on that legislature was that Roseburg can't tap that money until the veterans home is completed in Lebanon. So they're not getting their money, or if the legislature continues, that was through the lottery funds. But the county commissioners are going to lobby the legislators to give us the same amount of money. Therefore, the bond measure will disappear.
And I agree with the mayor. It's really a county issue. It's really not a city issue, and I don't think it has to do with the bond. I think it has to do with the voting. People voted in Lynn County, and so I think that was taken care of.
Next question, nice and short. Why do we owe Lowe's so much money?
I'd like to know.
That's a great question, and when we started the negotiations with Lowe in 2005, the city signed an agreement to put in infrastructure. Now, this is done through a Northwest Urban Renewal District, and it's a very complicated procedure, but basically the taxes on the property in the Lowe's district, in the Northwest Urban Renewal District, was frozen at the level that they were at the time that the URD was implemented. The increase in the property values of the Lowe's goes to pay off that infrastructure. The bottom line is that in 10 years, the city will have invested $5 million in infrastructure for Lowe's. Their property tax is $1.5 million a year. That will pay off that Northwest Urban Renewal fee that we put in infrastructure. So in a 10-year period, we will get approximately $15 million on that investment. So I think most people would look at it and say, well, for $5 million, we're going to get between 10 and 15 million back over a period of 10 to 15 years. I think that was a great investment.
Next question, how is Lebanon going to handle present and future debt, bond or taxes?
We have no tax increases in the future coming. Our bond indebtedness is all taken care of. We have a bond indebtedness for the water sewer. That is being taken care of through the rate structure. The bond indebtedness for the Lowe's is being taken care of by their bonding and by their taxing. So right now we are very fiscally sound. In the last 5 years we have improved our reserves by over $5 million, or 36%. So we are financially and fiscally sound as a community.
One of the things that I think that's important is when we talk about and I was mentioning this earlier about the water treatment plant, is that we did not pay into a pool. One of the things, just for educational purposes, one of the things is that we pay money so that we can raise up the rate that the city is making on water. And then at that point, we can qualify for a bond. It's much like qualifying for a house is what it is, where you have to have enough income. And that's really, I just want to make that clear because not everybody understands that. Then the bond can be received or gotten by the city. And that bond, they're trying to get a lower rate by us getting our income up and by getting this amount of income from water rates. So that's really the only one that I'm aware of that's coming up that I've heard from the city. But again, I don't know. That's just from what I've heard. Talking to city managers.
Okay, next question. We've got a couple more, and then I'll give both of you 90 minutes.
Okay.
90 seconds. 90 seconds, rather.
They'll be asleep.
Yeah, 90 seconds to kind of wrap up. Why is the cost of building permits so high?
I'm not sure, that's really not my field because I'm not on the city council and I'm not the mayor now. I don't know. The one thing I did find that was interesting, I had someone come to me and ask me about the inspector. It was somebody who had some real problems with the inspection process, and I went and educated myself with the city planner and found out apparently at one time we had actually kind of jobbed out that to someone that went around and did city inspections, and apparently it was kind of like on a commission basis. So it was very bad. I went, I investigated. Apparently that's not being done anymore, so that's not being done. But as far as anything else, I'm not sure what the city's doing.
The city building permits have to be a standalone. So the cost of a building permit goes into the planning and the engineering and the building inspector. That is all a standalone so that they don't have to drain the general fund. And the reason for the rates are that rates are built into the actual cost of issuing that building permit and all of the engineering and the study and the planning that goes into that. And the city does not make money on that. It's a break-even situation.
Okay, that's our final question. Were any of the former employees interviewed in the attorney's report by Renee Starr? Is that the...
Yes, that is the name. And yes, there were. And that is all confidential. That was not in the report. That was not given to the city management or anybody, but there were former employees that were interviewed, and that would be, that's an attorney-client privilege that Renee Starr has. But she told us that she had interviewed former employees.
And from reading the report, that's exactly what I saw, is that there were former employees that were interviewed, but it doesn't say really how many or who they were, which is their privacy protection.
Hang on to it there, Paul. At this point in time, we're going to give the candidates 90 seconds to go ahead and wrap up and give their final comments.
Though it has been a lifelong ambition of mine to enter politics, this is something that I really do feel strongly about. Despite many challenges of running for office, I know that this is something that I must do. My opponent's a nice man. He's done a lot of good things for our town, and I will be the first to admit it and thank him for that. However, it's time for a fresh new generation of leaders in town. This coming Lebanon election can be a turning point in our city's history. We can keep on the same course: lack of communications, lack of community input, no transparency, poor planning, unhappy city employees, the Justice Center debacle. Or we can turn the corner and create a Lebanon that we can be proud to call home, where residents have a say in how the community will look. We need better planning, more transparency, and a fully funded police department to ensure a safe community. It's time to fix the problems. Our local government is supposed to work for us. Friends, we do have a problem because our government is not working for us. It's a challenge, and I'm determined to face it head on in the same manner that I will deal with any challenges facing the mayor of Lebanon. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Thank you, Chamber, for having this event.
During the worst economy since the Great Depression, and a time when most cities and counties have cut vital programs and staff, the City of Lebanon has significantly increased city services as follows. Police and public safety, we've increased this over 46%. Senior Center and Dial-A-Bus, we've increased the funding over 43%. Library services, we've increased over 58%. Street maintenance, we've increased over 27%. All of these enhanced services was accomplished without reducing other city services or reducing the city's fiscal reserves, which have increased by almost $5 million, or 36% since I've been mayor. In addition, during my last 2 terms, the city approved a 7% property tax rate reduction effective this year, participated in the effort to attract and site Comp Northwest, Lebanon's new medical college, won the statewide competitive bid for the new Oregon Veterans Home, bringing about 230 plus jobs to Lebanon by 2013. Added nearly 1,000 jobs to the local economy. My wife and I are longtime residents of Oregon. In addition, I have decades of volunteer service and involvement with such organizations as the Lebanon Boys and Girls Club, Lebanon Chamber of Commerce, Lebanon Planning Commission, the Hospital Foundation, and Cascades West Council of Governments. The next 2 years are critical for Lebanon. The city needs a proven leader who knows how to leverage the success of Lowe's Distribution Center, new medical college, and coming veterans home in order to further improve city services and attract other new compatible businesses, offering not only new jobs but an enhanced quality of life for all of Lebanon's citizens. I believe that my proven record as mayor, my long residency in and service to the community of Lebanon, and my goals and vision for the future merit your support and vote this November. Thank you very much, and I'd like to thank the Chamber for putting this forum on. And thank you, and good luck, Paul.
I want to thank both these gentlemen for their participation tonight. It's not easy to do what they're doing up here, and good luck to both of you in the upcoming election. Thank you, audience. We're going to take about a 5-minute break here so we can get the city council candidates up and have the mayors out. I think if the mayoral candidates have time, they'll stay after the event and maybe answer some questions. I'm sorry if we didn't get to your question, but in the interest of time, we need to have enough time and an opportunity to interview the candidates for city council. So about a 5-minute break.